I think first and foremost I need to issue an apology.
Oh my goodness. Is this a first? Like an actual earnest apology?
It is an earnest apology. It's not really to you. It's more to the world. I'm suffocating under my own hubris here. So carried away with the terminology that I so clearly am proud of that I allow myself to throw it at things that clearly are not the case. In this case, it was the term Metroidvania Lull against Dark Souls, which was totally fucking incorrect. It was a couple of episodes ago when I said I had struggled to find the depths in Dark Souls. And I was like, oh, it's because, it was a tiny little door. How was I ever supposed to know? And I was scrolling through item descriptions the other day. Mm-hmm. And I read the descriptions of the key to the basement, which in explicit details tells you where the fucking door is. And it's only made slightly worse by the fact you've been telling me to read every item description since episode 1.
I've been wagging my finger at you, going, "Oh, you Lee Brady, you better keep reading them item descriptions."
Yeah.
I did it because I did it for you, Lee, to save you the embarrassment that you have inflicted upon yourself.
So yeah, my apologies, Dark Souls. I can't take back time. Those who have never played Dark Souls probably thought, oh, it does have flaws and problems. I'm afraid not, misled viewers. Never, ever trust a podcaster.
Absolutely. Including this statement.
Oh yeah. I'm lying directly to you right now.
I suppose I do have a little bit of follow-up, but it ties into the news for this week.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you can guess. You had it in your own show notes. We both compiled it individually, which is that Mike Z, the man who I describe as an island to himself at this point.
Quite vividly.
Has laid off everyone at Lab Zero Games with no severance planned at this time. Bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for him.
I'm there's a problem I've found because I listened to one of the other episodes where we were talking about all the grimmest news, and I mean it's because I enjoy our conversations that I laugh my way through them. But to be clear, the news is dreadfully grim, and the only reaction I can give is to laugh at the sheer fucking horror of it all. This is awful fucking news. But I mean, from the testimonies that I read, it seemed like the staff knew that Lab Zero was effectively dead. That doesn't, deflect the fact that they're not getting their severance or they haven't agreed to a severance yet.
And these are the people who stuck by him too. These are the people who didn't leave.
Exactly.
He made the decision easy for them.
Yeah, he's locking himself up like a fucking lich in a tower.
It's literally a company of one person now, and it's just him.
That's fairly depressing. But also solid follow up. We've been tailing this story since the start.
With our fedoras and our little pieces of paper in the fedoras that say press.
On a similar line in terms of smallish indie studios packing it in, although in a more positive light this time. Vlambeer shut down this week.
Yes, which I understand is a team of 2 people. So it's more akin to a band breaking up than it is a studio shutting down when you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. They were a great collaboration, the 2 guys, and whose names I now can't remember. Malik is one. Rami Malek, that's one guy's name, I believe.
Rami Malek, is that not an actor?
No. Alright, let me double check.
You may be thinking of Mr. Robot.
Oh, shit. You're totally right. Rami Ishmael and John Willem Nijan.
Rami Malek was in Until Dawn. Until Dawn was a video game, and these people make video games. There you go.
Oh, perfect.
For those wondering, this is the studio that made the indie hits Luftrausers and Nuclear Throne. I haven't played either of them. I tried to play Luftrausers, but it crashed every time I tried to launch it in Steam, which I think may be a Steam issue.
Yeah, that's a bit rough. It's pretty lo-fi. Yeah, we actually did talk about them on whatever episode it was that I listened to Neuromancer and was looking for podcastable games.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that I tried to give Nuclear Throne a try, but was too engaging. Too engaging to play to a podcast in the background. But I did say I would still get back to Nuclear Throne, and as of speaking, it's not uninstalled, which I can't say for a bunch of games in this time that has passed, so good for it. Still, I didn't expect that to be the last, or second to last, I guess, big offering from Vlambeer. It's a studio I've always really liked their arcadey games. Anyway, all their games really good. Shame that they're going on to different things.
Pretty amicable parting as far as these things go.
Yeah, definitely. Bigger news than the most this week was the Mario Direct.
Yes, I remember there's a lot of fallout regarding this, hasn't there? Mario Galaxy 2? Never heard of it.
Hey, if you wanted to play Mario Galaxy 2, you would have purchased it direct to download when you had the Wii U.
That's true. I'm sure the alternate universe in which I did that, I'm sure that would be very helpful advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all over the place. Not only just the whole Galaxy 2 not being included in 3D All-Stars, but also...
Hope you like artificial scarcity.
Yeah, this bizarre artificial scarcity.
Oh, Nintendo. You always have to do it your way, don't you?
This is just like prime scalper material shit now, you know? Like, it doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't make anyone benefit other than people who like to get on top of a scarce demand so that they can fucking buy out all stock and just hold on to it till people get desperate. Which they will for the foreseeable future, because it will stop being produced in March 2021. Or May, maybe.
It's typical Nintendo being so completely and utterly divorced from the ground floor. It's like a long time ago, I couldn't tell you when, maybe during the Wii period, somebody just snipped the wire that was connecting them to like the ground, and they just floated off into the clouds, never to be seen again. Where it's like, oh, what's going on over there? Oh, it's just Nintendo doing their thing, don't worry about it. Like, they're completely divorced from the rest of the industry, as well as the whims of the consumer. Like, did you know that Sakurai said he didn't want to put a Wi-Fi indicator into Smash Brothers because people might use it to not play against those people? What a charming young lad. Because everyone was like, yeah, Sakurai, we know. That's why we want it. So we don't have to play against those people.
Yes, no, I'd rather sit through an agonizing 8-minute game of Smash. It's all the more frustrating because these games, some of them have always been hard to obtain. You know, Mario Galaxy 2, it was kind of like a late Wii game, and the price never really went down while people still had Wiis. So, you know, Nintendo always hold their prices for their mainstay games really fucking high years after they come out, which is extra frustrating for anyone who wants to play them in their lifetime. And I understand, I mean, at least, you know, like, a company values its property, it doesn't dip, you know, like, fine. But these were already, in some ways, scarce to get games. You know, like, certainly less accessible. I mean, they're hardwired to Nintendo-only consoles for a start, you know, like... It's not like we're fucking withholding Assassin's Creed for 3 years. You know, like, it will crawl into every other orifice it can. It's Assassin's Creed.
To give a sense of perspective on this, I'm pretty sure for the year leading up to this announcement, I wasn't entirely sure whether or not there had been a Mario Galaxy 2, or if I had simply imagined it.
Oh, well, that's bad.
Because I played the first one, and I was like, yeah, that was a good game. And I was like, was there a second one? It's like one of those situations where you can never quite remember how old you are. You're always like a year off the first time. It's like, how old am I again? And since Mario 64, did you notice they've so long, gay Bowser? That's been taken out.
What?
Yeah, they've just replaced it with bye bye Bowser or something like that. Because I suppose for the listeners' sake, and I not be wired into the meme verse. In Super Mario 64, in the final boss battle, when you're twirling Bowser around by the tail, they had Lou Ferrigno say, "So long, King Bowser," but the Italian accent and the limited sound chip on the N64 has cemented it in many people's minds as "So long, gay Bowser," and many a chuckle was had, many a chortle, much guffawing, and a meme was born, but evidently somebody must have told them, because in the new version that's coming out, it's been replaced.
Goodbye, Bowser.
Goodbye. So long, gay Bowser.
So long.
So long, gay Bowser.
When you said Lou Ferrigno, by the way, was that a joke that I didn't get, or did you just forget Charles Martinet's name?
Yes, I forgot. I'm always confusing the two.
It's okay.
Who the fuck was Lou Ferrigno? Is he the Hulk?
He's the Hulk.
He's the Hulk. Christ, who was I thinking of?
You're thinking of the guy from the Mario show.
The Super Mario Super Show. What the fuck was his name?
It's not a mile off Lou Ferrigno, was it? Captain something? What'd you call him?
Lou Albano.
Yeah,
Lou Albano?
Albano, I believe it is. Captain Lou Albano.
They're both wrestlers. And
there's Lou in their name. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Completely understandable. I have now justified the mistake and can be let off the hook accordingly.
Yeah, it's not seared alive by the pedants of the internet. So a couple of other things that were announced at this. There was Mario Kart for your massive house.
I have no idea what this is.
Oh, did you not hear about this? So they had, it's, right, how do I explain it? It's Mario Kart, but it's real toys that move around your house, and you set out a sort of lined track, and the carts have cameras in them, and then you play them driving through your house, which is the course, via the Switch on your TV.
Can you then import your house as a map in Mario Kart? Is that the idea?
Nope. I mean, it's a whole different game.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is a toy product that seems very complicated to explain.
Do they also double as amiibos?
Almost certainly not.
Oh, for God's sake. Nintendo!
Why would they do that? They need you to buy an amiibo separately.
I was just wondering, fool that I am, that if it was an amiibo, maybe more people would buy them.
Yeah, so I mean, this looks fucking unwieldy and bizarre, but, some kid's gonna get it one Christmas and struggle to piece it together, and what a day it'll be.
Yeah, I know. That's a Christmas morning right there. As is tradition, there's always that one gift where you're not entirely sure what to do with.
Yeah, or if it's going to be any good. But you sure spent the entire day figuring it out.
It could be the New Age Scalextric, or whatever it's called.
Close. Scalextrics.
Oh, yes. Beg your pardon.
They also announced a port for Super Mario 3D World. The Wii U one. One more Wii U game the Switch has absorbed.
This is really cementing for me how badly I have fallen off the Nintendo bandwagon. Like, I feel like a man twice my age going, shopping for his grandson going, he wants Super Mario 3D World. Is that on the Game Boy SP?
Is that the 3DS? I was like, no, Granda, that's Super Mario 3D Land. This is 3D World.
Oh, okay.
It's the one with the cat suits.
I just end up buying a Bubsy 3D or something, as is tradition.
It's a game I own, and it's a game I've played. I played it with Maria, my wife Maria. And
that's Super Mario, not Bubsy 3D, I take.
I would like to see us try to play Bubsy 3D together. Yeah, no. So I played 3D World, and I have absolutely no desire to go back to it. I mean, it was fun, but I mean, once you've done it, you've done it. When you do it thoroughly and get all the green stars. The last kind of thing remotely interesting, they had 2D All-Stars come to the online Switch, which wasn't that interesting, but they have coming up sometime, I think, next month. They have Super Mario 35, which is a 35-player battle royale. You play through Mario, and then you jump on things, and any enemy you kill lands on a random enemy screen, and then just overcomplicates the original Super Mario.
Is it 3D or 2D?
It's 2D.
Oh, okay.
It seems fun. I mean,
I like
certainly
the
a
idea.
novelty.
It sounds like a clusterfuck, which I always appreciate.
Once again, though, artificial scarcity. This time, it's a limited game. It's going to
for
stop
goodness sake, they're
in
doing it
May.
for new games too.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's at this point, it's like a proper service that goes in and out. It's like the fucking Miiverse. It was there for 3 years and then dead. This time, they're just calling it early and saying, yeah, nobody's going to be playing this in May. So from May onwards, no one can.
Somewhere out there, there's a veritable cornucopia, an archive of amusing Weverse doodles out there that I want to see, they'll never ever be able to see.
Fucking Miiverse shutting down broke my fucking heart. You broke my heart, Nintendo.
I mean, I never played Splatoon, so the extent of my interaction of Splatoon was watching other people run around in the plaza, seeing a bunch of amusing doodles, and me going, "Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's fun," and it made me like Splatoon. So I only played it once, and I wasn't very good at it. The brainworms ensured that. Because, yes, okay, yes, I understand at the front line, that's the most hotly contested bit of territory, but you see, we missed a couple of patches.
Yeah, we haven't
back at base,
painted the plaza.
And I need to get the ruler and make sure that every piece is perfectly covered with paint before I can continue onwards. And, oh, jeez, this guy... Yeah. They just undid the work I did. That's okay. I can start again from the beginning. It's fine. What do you mean we've lost?
Hey, Lawrence.
Yes, Lee?
Rocket Arena drops to $5 because stop making these.
I don't know what that is. I'm going to look it up.
Remember, we talked about it. It was one of these E3 pressers.
I was forgetting about that game the moment I saw it. Oh, look, it's the Fortnite art style.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you said the same thing.
Well,
it's Overwatch, except everybody has a rocket launcher.
I see. Just tack in the Magic Juju character design.
It was announced maybe 2 months ago. It launched, I think, last month, and has done so fucking poorly that it's already cutthroat by EA down to $5. Because just anybody, please pick up this and give us the tiny bit of money required to make some sort of bounce back on this.
It breaks your heart.
No, it doesn't. Stop making these.
Well, I mean, I look at these products, because that's what they are, and I see character designers and 3D modelers and animators being marshaled to saunter off into a meat grinder of which they have no possible hope of being validated, and I feel bad for those people.
I feel like the vast majority of times, there's always a vision of like an actual experience or game, usually with like a campaign or a story or something that ties it all together. Or something fun like co-op rocket launching, something that you know that you would play yourself, and then somebody comes in and says, it's an Overwatch competitor, strip it all down, 8 characters.
We've been in a couple of meetings with the focus groups, and they say that their kids really like the Fortnite. So we're gonna make this a lot more like Fortnite, so that they can think it's Fortnite. Don't they already have Fortnite? We're hoping to trick them by making it look the same. Trick their uncle into buying it for them for Christmas, thinking it's Fortnite.
And there's always dissenters. Fortnite dissenters.
Wouldn't that be the people who play PUBG or other?
No. Our statistics show that 20% of all dissenters look for the next most similar art style.
Oh, I see. So anyway, we're going to need you to stay an extra couple of hours this week. Just,
removing features.
Till 10 p.m. Can you do that? Monday to Friday? Great. Because, your contract's being renewed next month. Anyway, et cetera. You know how it is. I'm accusing this company of a whole bunch of things more than is apparent.
Yeah, I mean, this game looked fun. Stop making these. There are already far too many online service games, regardless of genre. Market. Please stop making them. I won't remotely look them. I saw it on sale the other week, and I was like, I remember Rocket Arena, but I have no space in my life for Rocket Arena, so I'm not buying it. And it was like down to £10 then. It was a perfectly like, oh, I remember that. Could see how that goes. Except I remember what it fucking was. Maybe at some point the news is going to cheer me up.
That's a foolish thing, and you know the better. You know better, Lee.
Especially, this one kind of cheers me up only for the fact that I already ranted about it and got out early, was the PS5 have ruled out backwards compatibility for anything other than PS4.
Mm-hmm. And thus their true colors are revealed. It's the moment we were all fearing.
Yeah. So, as far as I remember, this wasn't on the official PlayStation site. It was on like a Ubi-Soft site. But it was an FAQ about them developing for the PlayStation 5, and then in that they said the PS5 can't play PS3 or PS2 or PS1 games.
I find that difficult to believe, but we'll see going forward, won't we?
Oh, you don't have to fucking... There's no pretense that there's 1,000,001 ways to make this work. They just don't want to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing of value to them in getting fucking PS3 games working on this by emulation.
Sure? Now, Lee, keep in mind, it's still not too late. You did buy a Vita. You may still be legible for the application form in order to get an invitation in order to pre-order a PS5. A console whose release date has not been announced and whose price has not been announced. You bought a Vita. You could just leverage that. Just say to them, I bought a Vita, and that might put you on the shortlist right then and there. Could happen.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's beginning to sound a bit like some kind of illicit dead drop the more I talk about it. In an undisclosed place, just put it in like a cardboard tube and leave it under the potted plant, don't worry. And then come back in 20 minutes time, someone will be along to make the drop, don't worry about it. Are you familiar at all with the concept of a trial balloon?
No.
It's the idea where you deliberately float an idea to the press, either as a joke or as like a false leak, in order to test the waters to see how the public reacts to it before confirming upon a decision at a later time. So I was wondering if perhaps I'm getting a bit tinfoil hatty here, but maybe they were thinking of starting it off with what price they intend to sell it at to the die-hard, Kool-Aid drinkers who are going to be signing up for this thing. And and they could just say, oh, it's a limited release, we're doing it early for yous, that's why we're charging so much, if they get called on it. But if they release the price and there's no complaint, they might just go, well, no one's complaining, I guess that'll be the price we use.
So, okay, they want to limit the damage of the people spending an outrageous amount of money early on the PlayStation 5, because those people are going to be satisfied regardless.
The sorts of people who would actually
go through with
degrade them... who would degrade themselves sufficiently to go through this rigmarole in order to pre-order a PS5 through this application process are going to be dyed-in-the-wool, like, die-hard, like, Sony fanboys, right? The kinds of people who could be tricked very easily into spending more money than they ordinarily would.
So or wouldn't realize it if it did go out of their bank account. It was $1,000, and you're like, well, I'm rich.
So in addition to controlling the information in such a way where it's the only people who are getting a hold of the PS5 are the people who are going to be singing its praises no matter what happens, they're also potentially, this is my theory, getting a good flavor on... They're doing the trial balloon where they're floating the idea of the price, and if... the fanboys accept it, that's fine. But if other people, the general public, balk at the price of the thing, they can just say, oh no, don't worry about that. That's not going to be the real price. That was just a limited edition, early access thing, yada, yada, yada. It's really going to be much lower.
And then they can do the Nintendo ambassador program thing where, they give you, like, early adopters get $100 in the PlayStation Store. Something like that.
Exactly.
Even it out a little bit. Yeah, that's not too, it doesn't seem like too much of a conspiracy. But then the best conspiracies always feel that way.
Again, I know you had a massive rant about how the PS5 is not going to be worth the investment no matter what it is. But again, you had a Vita, you can still leverage that.
Yeah,
it's not too
true.
late.
I can still give them absurd amount of money for nothing.
You can be a Vectormen exclusive. That's what you can
yeah. We'll be
get the scoop.
We'll be among the first 1,000 people in the UK area to have a fucking PlayStation 5. That's right, guys! And I'm playing NBA 2K21 on my new PlayStation 5 today!
NBA 2K21. Because they need a separate one for slotting the numbers in and out.
Of course.
Who was it? No, it was Madden that got in trouble this week, wasn't it? It was EA that got in trouble with Madden because they left in a logo for 2019 in the 2020 edition.
That's alright. Yeah, review
How
bombs.
embarrassing.
How embarrassing. I mean, what a terrible position to be in. You're one of the people who buy sports games. You already know it's a scam, and this is what sets you off. The scam nakedly doesn't change the number on the game.
Oh, people are still going to buy it.
That's what I mean.
No one has been fooled here.
Yeah.
Or sorry, I should say everyone who needs to be fooled has been fooled here. All the people who haven't been fooled weren't going to buy it anyway.
No, that's true. Last thing I have on my news notes was Shenmue. Shenmue gets an anime. It's getting an anime. It's coming to Crunchyroll.
This is very, very funny.
The story, 3 installments of the game where a story that has barely started is getting a narrative-only edition.
God, I can't believe we live in a world where not only Shenmue 3 came out, but that it didn't conclude the story. That it was actually more preamble.
Yeah,
it was more preamble to a story that's never ever gonna get finished.
This time you got to at least see the main villain.
Maybe the reason why they're doing this anime is because they realized, if we treat every game as an episode in a series, it's never gonna get done. It's never gonna happen. We can just make it a season of a show. It's like, they have finally settled upon the medium that they probably should have began the story with in the first place.
But then you don't see Yu Suzuki's vision come to life, where you grind your life away in a fake simulator.
No, where you very realistically only progress the story in your free time whenever you're not working away at the docks in order to make enough cash to take the cross-country trip, in order to go to the dojo, in order to train to beat the bad guy.
Or in the last game, Shenmue 3's case, gambling. You couldn't progress the plot until you won a certain chain of random luck games. And it didn't happen a couple of times.
I want to see a Shenmue game on GDQ. I want to see the speedrun. I want to see the estimated time. I think that if they make that a drinking game, that'd be the best run that they've ever done.
Yeah, they do the whole $5 donation for every lost gambling game and watch as a speedrunner
bankrupts themselves.
Yeah.
Their next run is going to have to be a charity run, not for their charity, but for themselves to keep their house.
You got any other news?
I do. Whenever a company purchases the rights to a famous author's work, there's always a certain worry that once the creative control of that franchise or that work exits the hands of the writer, that the company will no longer respect the spirit or the intent behind that writer's creative direction. Well, I have to say, Ubi-Soft have done a damn fine job keeping the spirit of Tom Clancy alive, haven't you?
No.
Don't you think so?
I only really caught on to the story today.
Then it's nice and fresh. This one is do you remember last week when do you remember the last episode when I was talking about how chicken Activision Blizzard are for their whole Ronald Reagan baloney and how they're too scared to really commit anything? Well, get the fuck out of the way, because here comes Ubisoft.
So for those who don't know, this is referring to Ubisoft Elite Squad, a mobile game where I believe opening cinematic and also the press cinematic,
in a world where corruption and poverty have how did they phrase it? It's shaken the foundations of world governments. Chaos reigns, corruption.
People are hacking social media to make our leaders look like fools.
An organization called Umbra, who claim to be striving towards an egalitarian society, have actually been working to undermine world governments and hack social media to discredit world leaders. They're actually violent terrorists. But don't worry, don't be afraid. You can recognize them from their logo. A black fist raised in solidarity.
Oh God.
In order to defeat this enemy, we can't play by the rules anymore, Lee. We need to assemble a team of special operatives, including criminals, cartel members, Black Ops guys,
paid assassins,
so that we can take down this insipid terrorist movement.
Fuck me! What a fucking shit show.
They're called Umbra. Ooh, scary. What does Umbra mean? Oh, don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't look it up.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Somebody in Ubisoft, who I found out this is the creative vision of Yves Guillemot's
the son of Yves Guillemot. Whoops.
Jesus Christ.
This is the ongoing the story of the world's worst PR department. So, I'm no fool. I understand that games take a long time to make, even if they are mobile games or whatever this is. So that means that they've had, it's like that scene from Austin Powers with the steamroller. This is a this was a controversy that was coming at them from a long time, and they had all the time in the world to step out of the way.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
I mean, directly in the news for what, 3 months? This game launched just last week.
There's I imagine there's a whole bunch of developers wringing their hands, sending emails to management going, yeah, so we're still going with the Umber thing, yeah? Yeah, we signed off on it like half a year ago. You got the memo, right? Yeah, I did, but
just wanted to double check.
It's just there's okay.
Yeah, I mean you're the boss's son.
Please don't rape me.
Oh God. Oh no!
But it's all right because Yves Guillemot made a statement saying that they're taking away the Black Fist, so it's all good. It's fixed. It's fine. No problem. No concerns there.
There was nothing to worry about all along. And now that I know that this product exists, I'm all the more informed. The controversy actually helped me be more informed. So thanks,
all
Ubisoft. All
publicity is good publicity. That's how that works, right?
Man, how fucking pissed off do you have to be as a surly team of writers to see that news story where a bunch of TikTok users ruin one Trump rally, and you say that's the theme of the game. Those guys could ruin the whole fucking world.
I mean, this is another big brain Lawrence saves the game industry moment, but there is a very, very easy way that they could have salvaged all this and made it look even better in the progress, which is, and you know what? This idea was, the seed of this idea was given to me by a guy called Wooly Madden on the Castle Super Beast podcast, where he basically pointed out something that I hadn't considered, which is, aren't the bad guys of this game like the protagonists of Watch Dogs, basically? Aren't the cool millennial hacker fun gang from Watch Dogs 2 Umbra, essentially? Mm-hmm. So as I was thinking to myself, well, couldn't they have just made it so that this is they can make it like a Ubisoft crossover, like Smash Brothers thing, where it's like, hey, why not make one side, your uncomfortably fashy autocratic Tom Clancy team, and the other half can be your fun times Watch Dogs. That's all, I don't know.
I don't know.
Defaced London Watch Dogs. Dead sick.
Well, it's all coming from a bad place anyway, because fucking Watch Dogs 2 give those rootsy, grounded kids machine guns to work with, which isn't how those fucking any of those organizations work in real life.
I suppose that's true, but even then, I think like putting a sympathetic face to them would make it a lot better than simply having...
It would make it a lot better that fucking Sam Fisher darts them in the face.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose either A, the idea didn't occur to them because they're idiots, or B, they didn't want to have the image of Sam Fisher shooting...
the guy from Watch Dogs 2.
Marcus, whatever the fuck his name is, in the face. But, but clearly bad optics isn't something that they're concerned about over Ubisoft right now.
That's a good point. There's a lot worse they could do.
God, just when I thought they couldn't stop digging a hole for themselves. Ubisoft. Oh, Ubisoft. See, Jim Sterling doesn't even like doing the Ubisoft anything thing anymore because it's not sufficiently angry enough.
Yeah, that was... I mean, Konami is a terrible company, but Jesus fucking Christ, the shit we hear out of fucking Ubisoft is way above and beyond what Konami did.
Especially because Ubisoft is a French company, a country whom I understand civil disobedience is basically a national pastime.
Yeah, but aren't they owned partially by Tencent?
Are they? I know that ZeniMax was making movements on them a couple of years ago. I'm not sure if they ever got bought out. I'm pretty sure Ubisoft has remained blissfully independent in order to do its own thing, which apparently is weird, fashy Tom Clancy stuff.
So yes, following on from that story where who was it, Vivendi?
Yeah.
Were attempting to buy over Ubisoft. They were only saved by the fact that Tencent jumped in and bought up 5% of the stakes.
Oh, those heroes. Those heroes without capes, Tencent, thank goodness. Where would we be without them? Man, I bet Tencent love this shit.
Yeah, I know. Like, woo, go Ubisoft! On to,
the weeks.
Yes. Oh, you
It's
did do
just
your
occurred to
news.
me.
You didn't do your news jingle.
It occurred to us at the same time that since we started with the news, which we're not used to doing, I forgot about the news jingle. Let's see. Does Ubi-Soft have a theme song or a jingle that I can lampoon for comedic purposes?
They used to have one for Rayman, didn't they?
Ba 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 the news. So
yes, it's our week. What you got, Lawrence? What you been doing?
Right. Well, first of all, I finished Hotel Dusk, Room 215.
Oh, I forgot you hadn't finished it.
I know, I did the last couple of chapters. You know what? The game is cheaply made. It uses a lot of stock sound effects. It requires you to knock on doors unnecessarily when you already have the keys to unlock them, so just let us go through the door. And the first half was very, very tedious, but you know what? It ended strong, and I remember it fondly now.
That's good.
I guess it's because since you've already explored the majority of the hotel in the first half of the game, it narrows down to a laser focus in the second half where you can just focus on just getting the story done. I didn't do the New Game Plus thing, in case anyone was wondering. I just looked that shit up. Now, what's funny about this is that the text speed in New Game Plus speeds up if you hold down the screen, which is something that I would very much have appreciated in the initial playthrough. It would have saved me a lot of time and frustration.
What fucking bastards.
But, yeah, but it's like, well, I mean, you've already played it through once, so you can do it as quickly
now
as
that
you
you've
like.
drank in the story,
The
let us allow
atmosphere.
you to skip most of it.
Which is a little worrying because in the New Game Plus playthrough, some of the dialogue is changed.
What?
Like, Hyde reacts in different ways to certain characters, and certain characters behave in slightly different ways. Like, the events of the game are the same, but the dialogue is different, so you might even accidentally skip over dialogue that you
That is
hadn't
supposed
meant
to be
skip.
fresh.
Yeah, but you didn't know it was fresh because it's New Game Plus, because you put it all New Game Plus. Why'd you do that?
Excellent
I can see why you went
design.
bankrupt. I'm being harsh.
Of course. It's a very, very minuscule feature.
So, I also this week played System Shock 2, and I beat it as well.
Jeez, that was quid. Sorry. I was trying to say good and quick, and it came out quood.
Yeah.
Good work.
It's sterling. It's yeah, you know what? Hey, breaking news, strike 'em while they aren't as hot. System Shock 2 is quite a good game. Did you know that, Lee?
I've heard. So I guess the most important thing for our viewers was, did you gain much from having played System Shock 1 beforehand?
I'm glad you asked, Lee. I was just about to bring that up myself. As it turns out, it did, both in the ways that I had anticipated and in ways that I hadn't.
Oh.
Because, there's all the usual, I appreciate the story a bit more. I catch things that I wouldn't have caught the first time around if I had just skipped straight to 2. And I appreciate the gameplay improvements. Boy, did I appreciate the gameplay improvements. My goodness. But also, like, the last... I want to say the last half an hour of this game is like basically poking you going, hey, did you play the first game? Well, boy, is this shit for you, because look at this. Do you remember Metal Gear Solid 4 when you go back to Shadow Moses?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And it's basically a non-stop, hey, did you play MGS1? Well, boy, have we got a surprise for you, huh?
Have
Ain't this
your
a treat?
fucking mind blown.
Well, System Shock 2 actually did this for System Shock 1, which I was very happy about. I was very pleased. It's like they actively rewarded me for my terrible psychological problems. Thank you.
Somebody had to.
Thank you, Looking Glass Studios and Irrational Games, for enabling my terrible, terrible problem. In any case, I understand that you intend to play this game somewhere along the line as well, so I won't give...
Here's the thing, right? The thing, your ending line for System Shock on our last discussion, the original, was that it was too awful an experience to really recommend, even though it's, groundbreaking for its day. Has that changed since playing System Shock 2? Like, did it pay off? Would it pay off for, say, me or the average person to then go, you know what, it actually was worth putting up with because that payoff was tremendous? Or was it just a really good pat on the back for someone who suffered needlessly in the moment?
I think that you could gain a lot of the benefits that I gained by playing maybe 2 hours of System Shock 1.
Yeah, just
and
grapple with the system for a while, check the fuck out.
Play it for 2 hours, and then get a plot synopsis that tells you what you did during that game, because it ties into the plot of the second game. And you've basically got more or less the broad strokes of the experience.
Alright, cool. That is good to know.
No, you did say you wanted to play System Shock 2, so I won't give too much away here. Mm-hmm. I will say this. Did you know that Shodan's presence in this game is meant to be a surprise?
No, I did not know that.
Sorry to spoil that for you, that she's in this game. I suppose you couldn't guess from the fact that her face is on the front cover and the promotional materials, and basically every time someone talks about System Shock 2, they're talking about Shodan.
I mean, it's even more frustrating because the box for System Shock 1 doesn't have Shodan on it.
Well, that's because she wasn't hot shit then, but they played the game and everyone was like, man, Shodan's great, and they're like, Shodan's great, let's put her on the front cover of the second game, even though the fact that she's in this game is meant to be a surprise.
God.
And it gives you a very quick recap at the beginning of the game about what happened during the first one. The rogue AI, Shodan, was evil, and a hacker blew up the station in order to stop her from destroying the Earth, and you're like, oh, okay, will that be pertinent to this? This is like 40 years later, right? And the game's like, no, what do you mean?
Just drink in the details.
Mm-hmm. This is just to catch you up, don't worry. Yeah. Oh, do we need to cut up? Maybe, I don't know.
It can't hurt. Can it hurt?
We'll see, won't we? Shodan in this game is great, of course. She's always great. But she seems a lot better in this game because there's a more diverse range of interactions with her, I suppose. She's still got that whole, gaze upon me insect, yada yada, and you're like, ooh, is it getting hot in here? They seem to have amped up the dominatrix thing. She's got a real, step on me please energy going on with her. They seem to have played it up because people must have brought it up during the first game.
I guess neckbeards in the mid-90s weren't really used to having a domineering female presence in their life.
No, I suppose. Oh, why you gotta talk down on the neckbeards, Lee? Don't you know that's the core demographic for this game?
Slash show.
Yeah. Yeah. See. Yeah. Cry like an anime fan in prom night.
We all have to have a sense of humor about these things.
We all need to have somebody to look down upon. How else will we feel good about ourselves?
I mean, that's why you have me.
Of course. In any case, yes, the gameplay improvements are legion. I didn't know this, but remember when I was discussing System Shock 1, how you needed to hit a button to go back and forth between mouse look and interacting with the environment and the inventory?
Oh, yeah, no. Dear God. Yes, okay, yes, no, I remember.
So the reason why this was added was because this is the de facto means of controlling the screen in System Shock 2, where it is a lot smoother. Where it's like you hit tab, you double click on something, you hit tab to go into the inventory, and it's all right there. It's all very nicely laid out. It's got inventory management and the sort of attaché case style inventory management, that is to say, the best kind.
the only gameplay informing kind.
There's actual RPG elements in it now. It's an action RPG essentially in the vein of Deus Ex. It's actually scary now.
Oh.
The first one was, it was kind of scary, grim. I guess. Not really. I mean the subject matter was kind of grim, but the music was kind of weirdly upbeat. And the monster designs were too goofy to be intimidated by. I mean, occasionally a monster might, sneak up on you and hit you in the back. You're like, oh, what was that? But aside from that, you were never really frightened. This game very deliberately took steps to correct that in order to make it an actual pseudo-survival horror. And that's very good because it's very effective in that regard. That is to say, it's very atmospheric when it isn't hitting you with that slapping drum and bass music, which I was surprised by because it seems a little incongruent with the tone, but I have to say, those are some good tunes. You're running through these corridors with a wrench hitting mutants in the back of the head while some 90s synth throbbing in the background. It's pretty, you know what? I liked it a lot.
A lot of people have talked about System Shock 2, but I feel like those details kind of get lost in translation a bit. I didn't know that it kind of had horror vibes to it. I knew it's definitely a mature game along BioShock.
It has horror vibes in the same way that BioShock has horror vibes, where it's not a horror game, but it's got its moments.
Yeah, I mean BioShock still had its fucking violin stabs when you fucking got cornered by something spooky.
I mean, Yahtzee in his review, because I rewatched his review of BioShock in once I had finished playing this, where he said basically it isn't like System Shock 2, it is System Shock 2. And the similarities just keep mounting up to an incredible extent. Like, the enemies are very similar. There's like a vending machine that's really cheerful that you can hack to get extra stuff. There's the enemies are the same. You get a wrench, that's your default melee weapon. It's got the audio logs lying around the place. It's got a very similar story beat. Like, the story progression is very similar to like it's almost self-plagiarism on Ken Levine's part, really.
Hey, it's a remake.
It's a spiritual successor. I guess I can't fault him for wanting to have a second go at the pie, because apparently this game was critically lauded, didn't do so well when it first came out, which can be hard to believe. But then I looked up and I saw what year it came out, and it was 1999, I think. And I was like, oh, okay. What else came out that year? Half-Life.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah, that's I mean, it's a great year, but that's some stiff competition.
I don't remember anybody saying System Shock 2 was the fucking reason to get a PC in 1999.
Yeah, that's you know what? I can't blame him for wanting to double dip there. That's a rough break. God, it's so similar to like a shocking extent. Like, you're playing through it and you go, oh, listen, it's another thing from BioShock. Only it's more. The only difference is that BioShock is very clearly made for the consoles, whilst System Shock 2 is unabashedly the most PC game there is. Like, I've played System Shock 2 now, and I played the original Deus Ex. I think I need to play Thief now. And then I've got the golden trifecta of old school PC action RPGs. Thief and Vampire the Masquerade. Those are the two I need to play. And then I'm fully enriched in the PC Master Race cultural heritage. then I'm really one part of the club. I can be as pontificating and as elitist as I can, because I've done the Western Canon of the PC. Well, I mean, video game wise, that was my week. There was something else which I suspect may be a little bit beyond the scope of this video game podcast, but I did try Marmite for the first time this week.
Yes. That's exactly the kind of weak topic we'd need. Well, how'd you find it, Lawrence? Did you beast the yeast?
Did I beast the yeast? Did you make that up, or is that an actual marketing campaign that they used at some point? Because I wouldn't be surprised.
I couldn't be surprised, but no, I made that up.
Very droll. Very droll. In any case, I took one bite. I was like, I'm not sure how to feel about this. I took 2 bites, 3 bites. Not sure how to feel about this. On the bite after that, I went from 0 to 60 on hating it. I went from 4 bites of, I'm not sure how to feel about this, to 1 bite of, this is disgusting. Ugh.
That's when that full meaty aftertaste hits you.
But I later realized that I had been applying it too thickly. You're meant to apply it very, very thinly, not like butter, but like thinly as you can. And I tried it again this morning, and I can see myself acquiring a taste for it, but I'm still not exactly in love with it. I don't love it or hate it.
Yeah, wow. Way to break the marketing.
Typical Lawrence, you couldn't just pick a side.
Marmite.
Yeah. I think I'm in love more with the idea of being someone who likes Marmite than I do love Marmite, if you see what I mean.
I don't know.
I want to be the person who eats Marmite and everyone goes, ugh, but I'm working on it. I suppose I should elucidate for our cousins across the pond who might not have heard of Marmite. Marmite is a yeast extract spread of sorts that has a texture and flavor not entirely unlike coagulated beef gravy.
And it's
very
like
salty,
a dark brown black, and looks like tar on things.
As a texture of tar as well. And it is marketed very heavily as you love it or you hate it, which is why I'm so pleased with myself that I've somehow managed to fall in between the cracks on that one.
You risked the chance of being an outlier by ever going and trying it again.
I know. I went in for a second try. Maybe that means I actually love it. Maybe all the people who love Marmite are still just trying to convince themselves how they feel about it.
I tried it once and it made me gag.
Well, that was my week, Lee.
That was pretty good.
Very diverse.
Hotel Dusk, System Shock 2, and Marmite. My week was pretty good. I've got three topics. Starting with everyone's accepted favorite, Dark Souls Cubbyhole. Hey! Mostly starting it this week because it's super short. I didn't play a lot of Dark Souls this week, which, it had to happen sometime.
Did you hit your Metroidvania Lull, Lee?
No, I know where I need to go. I'm just fucking terrible at getting there. So, I beat Sif.
Oh, the Great White Wolf. Did you feel... I bet you felt really great about that, didn't you, huh?
I felt triumphant in the moment because the boss battle was kicking my fucking ass, but no, I didn't feel great about killing the big friendly dog that just wanted to look after some fucking pedant that allows me to walk on abyss stuff. That was probably... Yeah, it's like a ring, and she was probably protecting that for good fucking reason, which I'm sure we have a bigger reason to do so, but, nonetheless, I can't blame a person for, standing by their orders.
So, it's funny now, you've bumbled into a position where there's actually two story paths that you can go down at this point, but I'm not going to tell you what they are, and the game certainly fucking isn't, so, you've sort of accidentally sequence broke a little bit, because that key, that pendant allows you to do something later on that you could do at any point, but depending on when you do it, you could get a different story branch.
Right. Okay.
But of course, that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. I'm gonna keep hush. Keep stum.
That's good to know. As with most of the coolest things in the game, I've prevented myself from using or enjoying any of them. Like the multiplayer, which is a core factor of the game. I haven't touched at all. I also this week I didn't bother with the fortress, so I instead backtracked to the swamp to take on your advice from the previous week, which was to check out that tree. And I did. I there was a wall that I could swing through, and I got a chest with twin humanities. And then I swung through the next wall and found the fucking Ash Lake.
Yes. I was wondering. I was wondering.
Just teasing you.
I know. You'd presented me with quite a quandary with this. It's like a moral quandary, which is, do I tell him about the double illusory door? Like, is it okay for me to do that? Is that kosher?
I wouldn't have two people come to me and say, roll through that wall and get twin humanities. That can't be it. Yeah, so you get to jump into the tree. There's a tree world filled with mushroom boys and fucking those damn curse frogs. It's giving me fucking heart palpitations just trying to get down. It's like, I am far removed from anybody who can deal with a curse right now, so I gotta get past these guys in one piece. It's not even that they're difficult to fight, it's just that you don't want to get blindsided by one false move and then they just chain you into something and then you get fucked.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, climbed down the tree, got down to Ash Lake, and met my new nemesis, Asshole Hydra. I did do a little reading on because I was struggling tremendously, and it shouldn't be a struggle apparently, so I'm really I must be really out of the fucking loop, because I'm fighting it the way you're supposed to fight it, and I'm not doing any fucking damage to this thing. Hey, I ran the whole way past it, and got to the living everlasting dragon.
Excellent. Did you join its covenant, perchance?
Oh, hell yeah. I had a bunch of dragon scales. I wanted to get rid of that shit. That's just a fucking dragon. You always join a dragon.
Of course. I mean, he has a very commanding presence. Now, all factions, you need to offer them a token in order to progress through that faction. For most factions, you acquire that token through PvP as part of that faction. So you would get dragon scales by, I think, invading people as a dragon or killing certain people as a dragon. Okay. And then you get dragon scales that you can then offer to the Covenant in order to progress.
Okay. That's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. There's a little bit of factional warfare.
Generally, what you would do is you would do what I do, which is you look up what the rewards are for each faction, and then you go, that's a waste of time, I need that for the trophy, that'll be cool.
Alright, well, I think I saw that the dragon guy gives you a sword.
The Dragon Covenant does give you some other cool things as well, though I don't say what. I mean, you can look it up if you want. It's like some weird transformative stuff.
Oh, cool. Anyway, I mean, you see a dragon, he offers you a covenant, you join the covenant. I mean, what man wouldn't do the same?
It's one of the everlasting dragons from the opening cutscene that you probably don't remember.
No, I do. I seem to recall that they're the villains. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Kind of.
Oh no, they've been recently superseded They were kind of...
They were the power du jour.
Yeah.
And then Gwyn and all his buddies kicked their asses and became the new central power.
Mm-hmm. So they're not technically... given an opportunity, they would be the main villain, but they're not.
Yeah, but they're basically extinct at this point.
Yeah. That's not too bad. All this reminded me, by the way, there's not much left in my playthrough to add from that. I literally have just stuck around trying to kill that Hydra. But I remembered... So... I talked about going back to Firelink Shrine and everybody being gone, right? I forgot to mention the most fucking insane part was when I walked up and saw this beady fucking monster head with crazy eyes just standing there.
I was wondering why you hadn't mentioned him, because he's a very conspicuous presence, isn't he?
Yeah. It was absolutely... that was legitimately the first time I was, like, completely unnerved by something in this game.
Recoiling in your chair going, ugh.
Yeah, no, I definitely lurched when the fucking big old the curse frogs, I met them for the first time. But this time I was like, oh, God! Like, actual fear struck me. Just the whole thing, whatever it is.
And then the noises he makes.
Yeah. I mean, he's...
like the teeth gnashing together.
He seems like a kind soul. We had a conversation. Fuck me, that was terrifying.
Yeah, Frampt is he's a character, all right.
So I just realized I forgot to mention it at all, that there was a horrifying monster. Very prevalent in fucking Firelink Shrine. If it was that scarring, I blanked it out. But yeah, I mean, that's really been it for Dark Souls. Not a lot to go on.
I wouldn't be too worried about the Hydra.
I know you get dragon scales from killing him. That's the only reason I'm trying so hard.
No, I would advise that you take the Sen's Fortress path at this juncture, because further along down that line, you get an item that will make your life very, very easy.
Okay. Well, that's good.
It will do a lot to alleviate the Metroidvania lull, should it ever pop up.
Yeah, alright. Fine. That's what's up with that. Dark Souls, Cubbyhole. Alright, here, so the next thing I did this week, I finished The Outer Worlds.
Oh, wonderful. Would you agree with the criticisms that it tends to slouch a bit near the end, or did you have no trouble with it?
No, it does. It definitely does. The consensus there is completely correct. I decided to call it after 23 hours.
Lee.
But here's the thing, right? Because I did all the side quests that I was remotely interested in. I did the factional quests. So I did a little of something for everybody. I did basically all the lore quests I could find that wasn't in places that I didn't care about. And I did all the companion quests, which to me were the most important to do, because I really liked the crew. They don't get a full character arc unless you do their quest. So that was the most important. But I also made sure to check out as much as I could bear of each faction, even though a lot of them were just assholes looking for shit to do and some asshole to do the work for them. But yeah, I finished off the last of the companion quests, and I was kind of stuck in the big bougie city in the game, the fucking the capital, which is called Byzantium. And I felt an active detach at that point. I was met with 2 side quests. One was to film an advert, and the other was to go back to previous planets and start looking for armor set drops from stray enemies. And I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm done. I've got the big story ones.
One of those sounds a lot more interesting than the other, I have to say.
Yeah, I know. I should have done the ad one. But at that point, I was in the middle of something, and by the time I finished it, I was like, I can't be arsed. I'm moving on. So I kind of... it was only last night, I think, but I buckled down and knew that it had to be kind of near the end, so I played through it. It took about another 2 hours. Here's the thing, right? I also... The other reason why I wanted to wrap it up was because I was afraid at that point. I got the same sensation I got when playing Fallout New Vegas, which I abandoned at a point where shit was pretty much the same point where I was starting, I was now in the big town, I'd done a lot of side quests, and, it was, here's the next 40 side quests, and I'm just sprawled out in front of you, and you go, I'm having a good time, but I'm not having that good a time. So it's a matter of calling it at a point where I'm going to retain maximum enjoyment. And I'm glad I did, because, well, I'm basically glad I didn't hold out for a really good ending. Which sounds worse than it is.
I mean, you did say earlier, I guess it was good, which was not a really resounding endorsement, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, the best part about the game was the side missions with the companions. You know, stuff where there was actual character involved. But the final wrap up into solving or uncovering the big plot, as is often the case in these RPGs, is usually the weakest element with which the more interesting shit is built around. You know, Skyrim's main plot, not interesting.
Yeah, it's the Bethesda problem, isn't it?
Yeah. The reason why it's bad is partially exactly as you predicted last week, in that having done 40 side missions and rolling a character was very light on combat, I didn't get the stats required not have to fucking deal with some big ass bullet sponge boss at the end.
Yeah, see, it always happens.
Always happens.
You see, I was afraid of this happening during my System Shock playthrough, because I had been warned that this is exactly one of those old school PC games where if you overexpend your upgrade points into non-combat, exclusively non-combat roles, you will be buggered at some point in the game. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll spread it out. And I was glad I did, because by the end of that game, I was basically a monster who was good at just about everything I needed to be good at. And I just ruined the final boss of that game. I was overpowered. It was disgusting.
I mean, it's just extra frustrating because it did have an option to skip it, but the stats were arbitrary pairings, and you needed to have a number of them. And you had no way of knowing before you got to that point what to put those points into to avoid the boss.
Who could have foreseen this? That reminds me, by the way. Do you remember when I said that the ending to System Shock 1 is ridiculously limp? They remedied that with System Shock 2 in that it ends in the most hilariously 90s way imaginable, in a way that I will let you learn on your own when you play it, because boy is it a contrast with the rest of the game, I'll say that much.
Exciting to look forward to, I guess. Also, the air quotes final boss, who you do all this last minute moralizing with, is just some absolute nobody. And that kind of hurts its prospects a bit. They can drive a reason for it to be somebody other than the chairman of the board who you've been talking about the whole game, and I can't for the love of God figure out why they did it. You meet this character in question once.
Who is he? Is he just like a CEO of some company that you've never seen before?
That's who you're teased is the big boss, and you do get to meet him, but in your one conversation, he's kind of like, he's an alternate ending guy, I guess. But if you want to actually... If you want to finish the game and the story, you walk past him to the real boss, who is sort of like this middle manager, kind of.
Yeah. Can't stand those guys. Middle management.
But, like, not even like this is a character you've met once in a video call, and if you're like me, when she basically says, I'd rather you not fight the bad guys, you tell her to go fuck herself. And that's 2 lines in, and then the conversation ends abruptly. And you never hear of her until the end of the game, and this is already like at the last hour. So I mean, I liked that conversation because, you know, that is how my character was rolling at the time, just saying "fuck you" a lot. But specifically, if you want to go down the kind of more heroic save the colony path, you end up robbing yourself of information on who the fuck the villain is, and yet the fucking repartee shuts down the moment it starts. It's just fucking bizarre.
I guess they're saving the chairman of the board for a sequel of some kind. For the Outer Worlds 2.
Maybe, yeah. Keep them all in. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to kick these cats out now.
Sure. No 100% this week so far. Do you think he practices in a mirror? A couple of definitely, but I think he's replaced it with definitely.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yep, alright.
At the end of it all, the big picture of it, it doesn't really matter all that much. It just feels kind of really detached. It kind of makes you ask a lot more questions than necessary about what the fuck you're doing than necessary at the end of this RPG. But I mean, lastly, in terms of the Outer World, I found the ending of the game a little bittersweet. I'm not going to spoil the actual plot.
Okay.
Right, so the thing is, I kind of let my character set aside spacefaring to do the right thing, which is kind of the good end, I guess. And while this makes very little difference at the end of the game in terms, because it's one of those Deus Ex pick the choice and you'll get a different slideshow.
Oh, yes, one of those, huh? The ending-o-matic?
Yeah, and in fairness to this one, it's not really that clear-cut. It's like, you've had the opportunity to end the game a number of times on different paths by this point, and you had to stick it out to here. And then it's a conversation of just the specific choice on the good path that you make. You know, like, how involved are you in the good path? And, you know, there's one that's like pretty involved, kind of involved, and not involved at all. Where it makes you look like you went to the hell and back for just fucking no reason. Which maybe that's what you're rolling. Chaotic good. Maybe that's what you went for. I went for the super good end. And it's just kind of weird because it does mean that my character didn't desperately cling to the crew she had grown attached to. It gives that slideshow at the end where it shows like an epilogue of everyone's like fates. But like my character was very like personal with everybody in her life, and then it just like on a whim they just all go separate ways. Like they did the one thing which wasn't what everybody was there to do, just like my character and a couple of others, and then bam, the party's broken up.
The fellowship is broken.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like a flaw or anything. I just thought for posterity I would relay that I found it somewhat upsetting that after the big adventure...
Oh, you thought we were friends.
Yeah, like, our characters weren't shown having a drink from time to time, you know? They just got their endings. It just seemed weirdly alien next to, like, to do the things required for their arcs to end, you had to be involved, and to do them all made it look like you're, like, a fucking people person. Like, one of them goes back to their home planet and chills out in a cave alone without you. You're like, you're like, what does that have to do with anything?
Sometimes there are friends that are only your friends for that time of your life, and then you move on, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, you were united by a common purpose,
I guess.
And then when that purpose had been resolved, you had little in common.
I just feel like for the purpose of this narrative, there are certainly characters in the crew who were right to do that. You know, like, I was just tagging along. My arc's done, I'm out. Some of them are like, I want to hang around and see what you're up to. You know, we're thick as thieves, and they don't really. It just feels very incongruent, and it kind of left me like, not a bad impression, just kind of wondering what more could have been done. That said, I mean, like, there's a lot of depth to the ending of this game. It didn't run out of ideas or tricks by the end, so that was good. And I harped on so hard about some character potentially being a villain that, despite my instincts, I was near certain they would be at some point, and just ruin what I was trying to do for my character. And it never happened. It didn't really work out that way. And I was very grateful for that because it was a cheap twist as it was. Yeah, I mean, Outer Worlds, really glad I played it. I probably won't play it again. If you're the kind of person that really loves Fallout, I mean, you could play it forever and you would play it with different builds and have a really good time. But personally, like, I'm just glad I finished it, and I look back on it fondly, and its good ideas were really good, and its kind of middling ideas were middling. There weren't really any bad ones, so yeah, fair enough. All right, the thing I wanted to talk about this week, Battle Royales.
Oh, lovely.
Because I realized I had tried in the last maybe 2 weeks, I had played 4 new Battle Royales.
God help you. Who would do that to themselves?
What we're talking about today is a numbered list. That's right, it's a Battle Royale of the Battle Royales.
How many numbers are on this list?
You know, when I wrote it up, it was 8. Then I remembered 1, and it's 9.
All right, Lee.
So, which way do you prefer, Lawrence? Do you want to go high to low, low to high?
Which do you think would get the most attention grabby, YouTube SEO clickbait hits? With the thumbnail of you going with the stupid video title.
Top 10 least worst battle royales.
Fantastic. Hitting all those buzzwords. The YouTube algorithm won't know what hit it.
All right, we're gonna start at the bottom and grow mutual disdain, I guess.
All right.
So the worst battle royale I've played to entice the audience right off the bat is fucking Hyperscapes.
Is that the Ubi-Soft one?
That's the Ubi-Soft one. So if you recall, we talked about this game when it was announced at Ubi-Soft Forward.
Good.
Or E3, whatever. Which one of these things?
It's like our eyes couldn't glaze over it fast enough.
Well, see, that was the thing. I really liked the aesthetic. We both liked the aesthetic. Had a little cyber-y thing going on. And I liked the possibility that it was almost a return to the Unreal Tournament type of multiplayer deathmatch gameplay. How fucking wrong I was. I think even instantly at the time I had heard reports that it was a battle royale and bemoaned it. It's actively what is everything wrong with battle royales in one big dumb package.
Oh, great. Now we don't have to feel bad about denigrating and praising Ubisoft in the same episode. They've made it easy for us.
Here, I guess a little bit of criteria helps as to how the hell I'm ranking these. My biggest problem with battle royales is that they, by their nature, incentivize passive gameplay. A pacifist attempt at playing a game where you hold out quietest and longest hoarding crap in a non-interactive way, and then you get corralled into the smallest area possible, and that's when you finally get to play the game.
So the second half is the only interesting part, is what you're saying?
To me. I mean, I understand that people enjoy that sort of gather in a rush thing, and I've seen pro gamers and speedrunners, they can draw excitement and pressure from fucking a paint drying contest. So it's not surprising to see that when, you watch somebody play Fortnite who's good at just being every motion that they play matters, that Fortnite's suddenly a massive dog dash rush to get it to fucking to optimize your route.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't play it that way, and just because they do doesn't mean it's not the game's fault for engendering a different approach in general. And battle royales, they just want you to suck your thumb as much as possible and then play a fucking shooter at some point. And that to me is exhausting. And the games that do this the worst, including our number 9 here, I might have called it number 8, but number 9 here, Hyperscapes, is that it engenders all the worst traits about hanging around and then some even new terrible ideas.
Does it have loot boxes?
Oh, of course it does. It's a free game.
Yeah. Oh, it is free. Okay. It's free to play and not fee to pay, as they say.
No. It's free to pay, I guess. Yeah, well, congratulations, Ubisoft. This is dreadful. I mean, right off the bat, you gotta give some credit to Fortnite and this kind of wave of games that have worked hard to get a very simple press one button and join a game HUD. Moment you open the game, there's no fucking around. The first thing they want you to do is play their game. Hyperscapes decided that was too straightforward. It's not even smart, but they'd opted for a open level Crash Bandicoot 2 approach where you walk into the mode that you're looking to play in 3D space.
Oh, okay. Right.
Which is, it's not like it tripped me up. I'm just thinking, Jesus Christ, you want these people to get addicted to this thing, don't you? Why are you so bad at this? They can't get addicted if they have to fucking press the analog stick into the right area in a three-dimensional space.
I guess they're trying to stick out, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
They're trying to do a diegetic interface, Lee. That's what they're going
for. Which I understand. It would be admirable if it weren't for the worst reason, but it's only in there to kind of separate it as the sort of battle royale for big boys that it thinks it wants to be. It has the worst game map on the entire list here. What's bad about these other games is that it is the biggest thing you want to do is run from building to building, looting boxes. In Hyperscapes, it's literally skyscrapers. and it's a town packed densely with them. So you don't really have a lot of sight lines. You run from buildings to building with multiple floors in each one.
So is it like a Mirror's Edge kind of thing, or?
I wouldn't give it that much credit.
Titanfall 2, that kind of movement?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's what I thought it was when I first looked at the trailers for it.
Yeah, I kind of like Deus Ex, cartoony Deus Ex.
Oh, okay.
But these big buildings burst through the doors or the windows, and you can fucking hide out in a building or run to the next one. It's almost going to be impossible for someone to run into you when you're in those buildings or see you. You know, they would have to see the fucking open door, follow you in. You might not be there. So it actively incentivizes more than the other games doing fuck all, which is an incredible feat. And then, not only that, though, it has by far the worst loot system, which is an upgrade system. That was one of the selling points for the game. Where you pick up a gun, but you pick up another version of the same gun, and it gets progressively stronger and does more stuff.
Right, okay.
But what all this does is then you've basically multiplied the amount of busy work you have to do, because now it's not good enough for you to grab a gun and fight with that gun, because those guns do fuck shit damage.
Yeah.
So now you're chained to busy work.
See, I'm thinking now that from a design perspective, now it almost encourages a certain sunk cost fallacy approach to weapons, where you've got your weapon and you've got a couple of upgrades for it, but it's still not really doing it for you. But you see another weapon and it looks good, but it's not upgraded, and you've already invested so much time in upgrading the current weapon, and then you'll have to go find a whole bunch of new upgrades for this new thing. So now you've got this quandary ahead of you, and it's like, no, I don't want to be thinking about this.
Exactly.
Especially if you're stuck with like some shitty Mozambique thing from like Apex, you know.
What does that mean?
Oh, the Mozambique is the much aligned shitty gun from Apex Legends.
Oh, yes, that's right. There was like a shotgun or something, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Every gun is a bad gun when you first pick it up. And so it also has special powers called hacks. And that gave me the one upside of this game, in which you have a power where you can turn yourself into a big bouncy ball. And you can bound to the top of all the skyscrapers very noticeably by anyone anywhere near you. And you can't do damage or hurt anybody while in the bouncy ball, but you move too fast and too high to really be shot down. So you just do what I do when you get bored. Bound around the map like a fucking moron. Just watching the ants fight each other.
Is the only purpose of that to move very quickly across the map and or remove yourself from combat at a pivotal moment so that you can let other people duke it out?
I guess it could be used to get yourself very quickly to good vertical ground. But you like the dismount of having to get out of the ball takes a couple of seconds, and if you were playing with anyone halfway decent, they would be able to take you out in that fucking second, the moment you get out of that fucking ball.
Did you look up any, I suppose, pro gamer footage of this game?
No.
Just to see, to get an idea of how this game is supposed to be played.
Yeah, I think I was playing it how it was supposed to be played. Well, actually, no, I was actively playing it how it wasn't supposed to be played. Because I was trying to have fun with it.
Don't you know that only casuals have fun with their video games?
Well, you can make the same remark at the next one, because in number 8, it's Fortnite.
Oh, really? You actually played it?
You never played Fortnite?
I've never played Fortnite.
I
haven't played a single Battle Royale game.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm looking at the list. I don't see why you would. Not a single one here that's your thing.
I don't know why I did this, but I just typed Fortnite into Google and looked at images. This because I guess I forgot what Fortnite looked like. Just as a force of habit, I was like, Fortnite, what's that again? Oh yeah, it's this thing.
Right, so honestly, I have nothing against Fortnite, personally. I was at a gym once, and I overheard some kids who were hanging around. Sporty types like you and I are absolutely not. They were just openly talking about Fortnite. Like, they were talking about getting onto the fucking battle passes and checking out, working on the fucking leveling progression. This was conversation for kids, like kids who would be more popular than us at school. They're actually bonding over video games that aren't football.
Do you feel out of touch yet?
No, but it is bizarre.
I'm not out of touch, it is the children who are wrong.
It's not that I'm out of touch, I'm just morbidly fascinated. For all its evil and mundanity, I can't fault Fortnite for being way too successful, because I find it too fascinating to hate.
Interesting.
But I certainly fucking hate playing it. Everything I said about hyperscapes, and this is going to connect for a couple of these, is more or less true for Fortnite. It is just literally the definition of cowering for a long time, then finally having the joy. If the Lord may grant me a single bullet at an enemy, somewhere at the latter end of the game, so that you can actually fucking stand a chance of winning.
Did the Fortnite phenomenon happen to you, where you shoot an enemy and then they turn into a building, and you're like, well... That's the core gameplay loop of Fortnite, where you shoot a guy and then he just turns into a towering spire before you, and then you die.
Specifically because of that, why I think Fortnite is this far down on the list. The building mechanic thing, it's just not fucking fun.
Have you seen that clip? It's what I assume to be a pro player, where he's streaming, and then he goes, I hear footsteps, and then there's an awful crunching noise as he just... on his controller, and the screen just spazzes out, and then a second later it goes, okay, I'm at the top of the map.
I have seen this.
It's the funniest, probably the funniest, it's the most entertaining thing that Fortnite has ever bestowed upon me. Because it basically encapsulates what's wrong with its core gameplay loop.
Yeah.
Basically, much in the same way that a skunk freaks out and just sprays foul-smelling shit all over the place. A Fortnite player, upon being threatened in the slightest, just turns into a towering spire. And it just becomes a game of two people who can build the tower the highest faster, so they get a height advantage on the other player.
It really is. It is a game that whittles down to that Obi-Wan quote about having the high ground.
Mm-hmm. It's over, I have the high ground. Don't try it.
It is not as exciting and as poignant as that line in that film. Alright, number 7 is PUBG. PlayerUnknown's Battleground.
Oh, did you play the mobile version, which is apparently the only good version?
No, I have not. Because I played the main version.
Does it still perform like shit?
I don't know, because I played it in the days when it did perform like shit. Maybe it's really good. It doesn't really matter, because it doesn't change the core gameplay loop, which has one tiny edge over Fortnite in that it doesn't have to deal with the fucking building shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's its only advantage.
In many ways, the example of a battle royale game. It is I don't want to say the ideal, but it's like the platonic ideal. It's what I think of when I think of what a battle royale game is. I think of PUBG.
Yeah, definitely. I would say of games of its type on this list, it is the exact middle ground.
It's PlayerUnknown's middle ground.
Very good.
It's a stupid joke. That's
the title of the episode. Take it back.
I'll take it. The tally favors me.
Oh yeah, what's more to be said? It's a fucking slog to play. Its maps suck, buggy and awful in my experiences, but that comes way after the fact that it was boring.
I don't think I've ever seen a better case study of a game with an incredible market lead that sat on its laurels for so long and was rightly usurped by a studio who worked a lot harder to make a product a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Number 6, Apex Shadow Legends. No, I forget what the real title of this is.
I think it's just Apex Legends.
Is it just Legends?
Are you thinking of
Shadow Legends?
Shadow Legend. You know what? Don't even bring it up. We're not saying a damn thing about that game until we see some of that sweet sponsorship cash. Because I haven't heard any numbers, but they've been handing out some fucking checks.
Well, by all means, we'll talk about Shadow Legend
when they pay us.
Yeah, I've redacted the name of the game each time I've said it, and I will unredact it and re-upload this episode the moment we get the cash.
Yeah. If you want to see your sweet brand mentioned on the highly coveted Vectormen podcast, by all means.
Until then, we're going to be fucking around by talking about a game with a similar-ish title, thus ruining your SEO supremacy.
Yes. Excellent.
Apex Legends, fair dues to it. It has the tag system, and the tag system is a pretty decent innovation. I'm not sure if it came from this game, but it's a good thing for this game to have.
I think Portal 2 did it first.
Yes.
Portal 2 is the earliest one that I can remember that did it, but I feel like this was the game that really, where it caught on, it really popularized, it coalesced into popular consciousness.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great element. I'm glad more games are stealing it, so I don't have to play Apex Legends. It's the same shit. It's just the hero shooter elements kind of bring it back down to Fortnite's level where it's unnecessarily complicated. But it does have the Titanfall-esque sliding, jumping around, and that shit is fun.
I think of all the runny-gunny shooty ones, that's probably the one I would be most inclined to play. Because it's the one that has the most polish and actual character. Because it's like a pseudo-hero shooter as well, but the characters look nice and cool.
They do. They're memorable, even though I didn't play it for very long.
And it's got the respawn touch of quality on it, the thumbprint.
Yeah. So it's hard to hate it. I think it is a better game. It has all the same drawbacks. And that makes it dull, very, very dull. Number 5 is a game called Spellbreak. Now, you're going to struggle to remember this, but this was only an episode ago. There was an anime battle royale that we very briefly scanned over in the news section. Well, Spellbreak is an anime battle royale.
Well, right off the bat, the aesthetic is much more memorable than any of the other shit we've seen so far.
Definitely. In this game, you play as a little anime mage, and what you do is you pick a power, kind of. For example, the one that I used the most was an ice power, which had the effect of when you fired it, it could either have like a area of effect attack, like a blizzard, or it could have a ice bow and arrow, and you sort of magic these things into existence. And also, what was very cool about it, which is why I didn't bother to try anything else, was if you shot it close to the ground, it made ice trails that you could fucking frozone over.
Oh, lovely. That's what I want to hear.
So,
advanced movement options.
Yeah, so that put that game way ahead of the competition right away. I do want to defend Spellbreak a little bit. It's very new. I think it literally came out this week, and I was recommended to give it a shot. It has a couple of good ideas that actually incentivize combat, which is rare. It has like elemental powers that interact with each other. So if you hit fire at ice melts. If you've got like a gas bomb,
no guns,
fire at that, it fucking explodes. There was a point where I was fighting this guy, and he put like a cloud of gas around himself to defend himself. But I had a fire power, and so I just lit that up, and he exploded on the inside of his seemingly safe wall, and that was hilarious.
Oh, they interact in cool ways.
Yeah.
That is neat.
So that's also neat. The other thing is every character can fly, sort of. Like, levitate.
I'm watching gameplay footage of it right now, and this seems pretty alright, actually. This seems pretty neat.
Yeah.
Like, you've got I remember it said that, I think Yahtzee, he was talking about open worlds, where he said it's only as good as the means by which you get around the map, and that applies to other things as well, and it looks really slick in this.
Yeah, definitely. When I played it, it was very fun to move around. I didn't really get bored with that. Or at least in my experience, it de-emphasized running around for loot a little bit.
There's no guns.
Yeah, there's that. What mattered was that in my gameplay, I took on every fight I could. I won every fight I had. And I actually won a fucking game, which I can't say for any of the games I've listed so far. But I did it my way, which was to not suck my thumb. You know, I frozoned my way to victory, and it was a fucking blast.
Could be because the meta hasn't had time to form.
Could be, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. At its heart, it has all the bones to still be quite boring. And after winning it, I felt, will I be excited to try this again? Not really. I didn't really feel like going back, but thumbs up. Not nearly as bad as it could have been. You know, I was going to say it would not catch on with an audience because there's no room. But I'll be honest, I played it on the Switch, and I think it's kind of cozy on the Switch.
Yeah, it's found its niche. Yeah. It could be the Switch Battle Royale.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Switch has Fortnite as well, but it has comparatively less options than all the other consoles. And Spellbreak, it ran great on the Switch, and it handled really well, surprisingly. You know, whereas Fortnite played like fucking shit on the Switch. So, yeah, I gave it a shot. I wasn't upset. I almost immediately uninstalled it because I didn't have that good a time. Didn't want to sink more time into it. But hey, if anybody's in that market, go for it. Number 4, Call of Duty Warzone is I think, the best of the 3D shooter battle royales.
Of the classic run around, shoot people, shrinking circle battle royales.
Yeah. I've been off the Call of Duty bandwagon for a very long time, so it was weird to go back.
Man, the last one I played was Black Ops 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm on the same boat. So it was weird to go back, but I played a few rounds of it. I didn't do particularly well, but the thing was I did have fun with it because it's still Call of Duty, and Call of Duty is blindingly fast.
It's a well-oiled machine.
So you don't really have the opportunity to suck your thumb too much, and what's more, they have all these fun vehicles and shit just lying around, helicopters,
They've got the Gulag.
And they've got the Gulag, which is genuinely a great idea of how to keep that Call of Duty pace where you die in an instant and not feel like you've sunk 15 minutes of your life into something that you're never going to get back. The game plays fast, and that gets the thumbs up. It played faster and more involved than Spellbreak, and it's the only one of this type that I have ever felt compelled to go back to, except when they had a fucking 100 gigabyte patch. And then I was like, if you're fighting for space between Overwatch, you're always going to lose in my books. Number 3 is Soviet Jump Game.
Soviet Jump Game.
Yeah.
I have to say, I am quite enticed by that name.
If you've never heard of it, this is Game Grumps' 2D platformer battle royale.
I see.
When people don't know who Game Grumps are, they're a YouTubing troupe.
If you're listening to this podcast, you know who Game Grumps are.
I don't know.
Let's be real.
I'm thinking more like friends and family, our real audience base.
Oh, I see.
They're kind of a big deal. And I'm a massive fan. But I was kind of reluctant about this game. I wasn't really that interested because it was a battle royale. But I did give it a shot this week, one of the 4. And pretty fun. Pretty fun. You're the general premise is it's like Mario. You pick up power-ups, and you have 2 hit points, and if you get hit by any damage or jumped on the head of, you lose a bit of that health, and when you're out of health, you're out. Very, very simple. The map is got platforming challenges, so you can fall out and lose health just by pitfalls and stuff like that.
I guess it's kind of like the new Super Mario's on the DS multiplayer, if you remember that.
Yes, I do. And it is like that. It's exactly like that. I totally forgot about that, actually. So it's got that same fun. It's not super deep. At the same time, it does have all the working parts required to be a thriving game. And even though you have the opportunity to hoard weapons and stuff like that, it caps out at 2, and there are question blocks all over the fucking show. There really is no reason to hoard stuff. I guess smart players don't amble around like I do, and just play the platforming game. Instead, they sort of hoard off areas and threaten people who come near them. But I'll be honest, I won 3 games of this in a row from running around and chasing people, and I had a really good time doing that. You can be a little bastard and have a good time and still come out on top. So that's why it's above all the other fucking actual battle royales, because you have the potential to just run amok.
I should watch some Soviet movies. You always see those weird tweets where it's like, here's a 20-second clip from an animated movie made in Soviet Ukraine, and you're like, this is fucking fascinating, I should watch this. But never got around to it. I have derailed this conversation somewhat. Please continue.
Well, yeah. So number 2. This is where I'm worming in the one I forgot to include, which is Tetris 99.
Oh, Riot! It's not first place. For God's sake, man! This is what I was so hoping that it would be number 1.
Yeah.
Time to artificially extend our content by having an argument over whether or not Tetris 99 is the best or merely second best.
Yeah, merely second best. I really fucking loved Tetris 99, but at a certain point, I just wanted to play Tetris. And people kept getting in the way of that. The idea of how Tetris is a puzzle challenge, and it's a fun concept to mess around with and feel like you have a modicum of control over other people's lives while you play. But the truth is that only counts for the last 10 players. when you can start fucking really targeting people.
Where it becomes like a Mean Bean Machine, basically. Ooh, Mean Bean Machine 99. There's an idea. Sega, call me.
Yeah, Puyo 99. Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. It was an exciting concept that I enjoyed playing more than basically anything else on this list. But at the end of the day, it's Tetris. Mm-hmm. There comes a time when you're playing a game of Tetris you're really enjoying, and you're kind of pumped up, and you are putting them all the right places and targeting the right people in this, and then you just get fucking your game completely and utterly destroyed by a string of fucking blocks for no reason. And you just, in those moments, you go, I wish I were just playing Tetris. So that's why I didn't steal the crown from Fall Guys.
Fall Guys. Oh, yes, that is a battle royale, isn't it, technically speaking?
It's definitely, I mean, if Tetris is, Fall Guys is far more involved than fucking Tetris. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, right? Fall Guys, it's a bit of a meme at the moment, so it kind of feels like I'm being a little bit reactionary.
But topical. SEO.
Yeah, that's it. The thing here, right, is that even at the top of the list, I have uninstalled Fall Guys and I have no intention to play it again. And that's the same for everything on the list. But what I like about Fall Guys is that it is essentially a deconstruction of the formula. Because instead of passivity, it is always forward all the time. You're always running, you're always involved. There's not a second where you're not, like, even though you don't have a lot of, like, options of things to do other than movement, you gotta do it. You gotta keep moving.
It's got the Takeshi's Castle chaos. Speaking of chaos, nothing but chaos with this game.
Yeah, exactly.
Chaos.
Well, to be fair, that wears off very quickly, I found. Like, it feels chaotic at first, and then after a while, you start to realize that chaos doesn't stop you from winning. Are getting, qualifying for the next round. Like, very rarely would, in any of the early rounds, would you ever get disqualified, because no matter your worst that you bring to this is nowhere near as bad as some kid's worst. Oh, yeah.
This ties into our earlier theme of, so long as there's someone to look down upon, it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it has basically nothing to do with battle royales, because it doesn't have that thumb-sucking gameplay loop. You are always involved in trying to beat these games. And sure, it has diminishing returns when you start to play certain ones that come up and you're like, ugh, this is impossible to lose. So, the best thing about Fall Guys.
Look at you struggling to say nice things about the game that's number one in your list of battle royales.
The best thing about Fall Guys is that it does something that I always believe will work and that I wish more games would do, which is just emulate the kind of games you can play as a kid.
Or that you wanted to play as a kid, even.
No, I mean, specifically childhood games.
Or like the floor is lava, that kind of thing.
That shit, yeah. Like, in Fall Guys, there's a minigame called Grab the Tail, and you grab the tail, and you have to keep it away from other people. That's a kid's game. That's just chases or tag or whatever, basically. And it just fucking works. There's never a point where you get that where it's a relaxed experience. It's always slightly tense because some bastard could sneak up on you and grab that tail. And it's great. It's really funny, and it has that same immediate catharsis that kids games have. And games like that I always am drawn to when I see them. Like, we've talked about it a little bit. We briefly mentioned it, but Spies versus Mercs in Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
That's just fucking hide and seek with extra steps. You know, and that shit I love the look of. I would love to play it.
If there was one instance of divorcing a multiplayer mode from a main game and just developing that, I would like that, please.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that its core appeal lies in the fact that it's such a basic want, is to sneak around and do stuff without being caught. Like, that's a game that kids can play that is very simple, but also has immediately inbuilt tension and stakes. And I like that about Fall Guys too. I would like it more if it weren't a battle royale.
Well, I mean, it's emulating Takeshi's Castle and the like, which are by their very nature, I suppose, real-life battle royales, and that it's an elimination game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for what it set out to do, it tried to emulate that, and it did it right. I think it did it really well. And I think it deserves the fucking audience base it's managed to grab onto for itself. But that doesn't stop the fact that, personally, I don't get anything out of 60 random people forced into an arena, random number generating their way out of it, you know, like, and that part of the battle royale still takes away from the fact that it had the general concept of tag in a game being just fleshed out on its own. I would probably be playing that game right now instead, you know.
I can think of one way in which Fall Guys could be dramatically improved, in my opinion. First is they implement the feature from what was the COD game called? Warzone, where if you kill a guy, you hear the last second of audio from their mic before you kill them. Usually something to the effect of, "Ah, fuck!" If they include that in Fall Guys, I feel that would dramatically improve the experience as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's Battle Royales.
I suspect, Lee, that this may be another Metroidvania situation where it's like, Lee, I think you just don't like this genre.
Yeah, yes, but I
really like all these games, but they have this recurring set of mechanics that I just can't seem to wrap my hand. Yeah, that's the genre, Lee. That's the defining characteristics of the genre.
Yeah, what I'm really arguing against here is that also, look how fucking many of them there are. So many of them I've already played. Stop making these fucking battle royales. Like, okay, you've got the genre of down pat, I feel. Somewhere in that mix there is a flavor for everyone. Mm-hmm. And it's still not good enough.
They're going to continue making them as long as they are perceived to be profitable.
I wish they wouldn't. Not to detract from people's fun, obviously. Like, you love battle royales, you don't have any problems with Fortnite. You just love the loop of it or whatever, or just you and your friends grew up with it. Is that a thing that can happen?
Yes, it is. Have you not already seen the memes of, "I'm so glad I grew up playing this and not this"? Have you seen them?
No.
Oh, nothing that quite make you wither up into a husk and age 20 years over the course of 5 seconds. I'll show you some later.
Okay. I'm glad that these things, people have these things, but they're so prevalent at the moment, and all the big games are trying to get a slice of that same kind of pie, and I think they're inherently bad design in terms of an interactive sport or medium. I think the idea that you spend half the game crawling around, not playing the game. Why do we have that section? Why do we have that part?
It seems the zeitgeist disagrees with you on that one, Lee.
Yeah, well, surprise. My opinions are like Marmite.
Mm-hmm.
So glad I grew up with Minecraft. Oh no!
Oh yeah, you're feeling it now, Mr. Krabs, huh?
Jesus Christ.
The worst thing about these things...
I didn't grow up with Minecraft at all. That's not an old man's game.
Oh, so you say, Lee. The best thing about these memes is that so glad I grew up playing this and not this is that, well, first of all, you go through the arc of looking up when Minecraft come out, and then you recoil, and then the second one is you stare at them going, is this a troll post?
Yeah.
And then you look it up and you go, oh, it might not be.
That's very concerning.
Because let's see, when did Minecraft come out?
I'm going to say 2007?
2009.
Oh, it's a bit later than I thought.
So that's 11 years ago. There are very much people who grew up playing Minecraft who are now old enough to scoff at these new Fortnite kids coming in here, talking about their microtransactions, stealing their parents' credit card, and just go, the kids these days.
Oh my god. I just realized I misread this. and thought that Sony was making a case for the Fortnite characters.
No, it's the
like,
opposite.
I was like, are they trying to get at the fact that Minecraft's iconic skeleton and zombie are not nearly as memorable as Dude in Skeleton Suit and Green Girl?
No, it's the fact that
Couldn't
these
possibly
days,
work that way around.
there are kids who played Minecraft who are now old enough to nostalgicize about Minecraft and how it's so much better than what the kids these days are playing.
At least it's a good one, you know? What, like, the generation before that probably were nostalgic about fucking Call of Duty.
Yeah, and now, in 9 years' time, there'll be kids doing the same about Fortnite. About whatever fresh nightmare emerges from the games industry in that time period.
I guess there was a brief window where I did feel like I could relate to the kids. Because the biggest thing in the world was fucking Minecraft. Mm-hmm. And everybody loves Minecraft. Fuck Fortnite.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you know what? Fortnite goes on number 9.
For its cultural degradation.
It's the death of culture. It's the death of what we are witnessing, the fall of Western Rome, and this is its herald. This is the Goths. It's Fortnite. God, we had these in such somber tones.
I think the darkness of them makes them quite funny.
It's a wet fart wouldn't be the right word for it, but we always end on a, oh well, this sucks. End of podcast. Yeah.